Welcome to Be Super University. Today we are talking about DISC behavior model and the four continuums, the four factors that are in the DISC model, and specifically the superpowers that come with each of these styles. Because we all know that we have at least one superpower from the DISC model. Some people have up to 4 superpowers where they're really strong in certain areas. And so we're going to talk about each of these. We're also going to talk about some of the limitations or the things to avoid with your superpower if you stretch it out a little too much, what it could cause for people. My name is Jake Newman. I'm an expert in behaviors and motivators, and I'm so excited that we get to talk about this today because here at Be Super University, we are creating new superheroes every day. We're helping you understand what your superpowers are so that you can make the world a better place. And DISC, these superheroes that we're talking about with DISC, are just a portion of the powers that you have to help people around you, to make your organization and your people around you better. So let's get started with this. So as we talk, I tried to design or draw out our superpower. So bear with me there. I'm not a great artist, but they should help with my explanation. So the first one we have is dominant. As a reminder, dominant is how you respond to problems and challenges. So when we're talking about these superpowers, we want to make sure and be focusing on problems and challenges is really what we're talking about here. How do you interact with those? And so on the direct side, we have fire, the power of fire. This is a really important factor within this style because this style is very aggressive, very ambitious, always pushing forward. They like that challenge. They like competition. They're very confident in what they're doing, and they're always working towards that next goal. If you think about the power of fire, if regulated, can spread quickly and become something really great and powerful. So if handled well, that could really push you forward towards those goals that you're working towards. Work through those challenges that you have that come up. But if not controlled, fire can go crazy. There's wildfires all over the world, specifically in California. There always seems to be wildfires going on. And so if we think about what that means for us, if this is your superpower and you let it get out of control, you could be starting fires where fire isn't needed. You could be burning people, is really what it comes down to. Be careful, because you could come across as arrogant to people. You could come across as too blunt and direct with people. Not everybody appreciates that kind of directness that you might prefer yourself. So trying to make sure that the people that you're interacting with are those same people that prefer that kind of communication, you'll be okay. But if there's people that are on the opposite end there, you need to make sure and tone it down a little bit for them, so that you don't burn them. Because once somebody gets burned, it's hard to get them back. On the other side, we have reflective. This superpower is the power of the mind. If you remember more about this factor or this style, is that these individuals, when it comes to problems and challenges, they like to take a step back. They like to look at the whole picture. They like to think about all the different options, all the different solutions that could really help get through that challenge, take care of that problem. And as they look at all the solutions, they want to pick the best solution. They want to pick the right one. They're thinking through, they're listening to other people and thinking through what the best decision is. And so really powerful style. However, be very cautious if this is your superpower, because if you think too long, some problems and some challenges don't have the time for you to keep thinking. So you have to still make a decision. And sometimes you'll have to make a decision quicker than you would like to make a decision. And so bear that in mind, that you can't just hold up the show forever to come up with the exact best solution every time. Sometimes you will have to move a little bit quicker. Otherwise, that problem could continue forward and cause even greater problems for you. On the influence factor, this is how you influence others to your point of view. So we're talking about the people, the contacts that you are interacting with on a daily basis. On the outgoing side, we have lightning or electricity, because these individuals are the ones who energize the people around you. If you think about lightning and how it goes from one to the next, to the next, to the next, these are the people who are really shocking the group into moving forward, moving towards those goals, getting them excited to keep working forward. And they energize and they help people be... They bring that motivation that people need. And one of the areas that could get you into trouble if this is your superpower is that not everybody likes that energy. Sometimes you could be too talkative or too energized with people. And so just being aware of your audience, the people you're interacting with, so that you don't overwhelm them with your energy. And we've all seen power outages that happen because there's just too much power in one place, right? We don't want that to happen with individuals that we're interacting with. So that's the area to be careful with that superpower. On the other side, we have the reserved. These are our lie detectors. They have the power to discern between what is truth and what is fluff. And so these are the people that sit in the back. They're kind of assessing, always analyzing the things around them, what's being said, so they can decipher, okay, that's true, okay, I can toss that away. And these people really ask a lot of great questions to make sure that whatever is being talked about is accurate and true and factual. And so one of the areas to be cautious about, if this is your superpower, is that along with that skepticism, which skepticism is not a bad thing, it's actually a good thing. I think that we need to be more skeptical of people sometimes, but along with that, it could come across as negative. It could also come across as somebody who doesn't want to, like, kind of closed off individuals. So be engaged to a point so that you don't come across that way. On the steadiness factor, this is how you respond to pace of the environment. And so on the steady side, we have our tree here, our superpower of nature or of plants. And when we think about this power, the growth of a plant takes time, right? So there's a slow pace within that growth process, but that growth can also develop into something really big, awesome, and amazing. And so these individuals, they like that steadiness, they like that consistent pace, and they like consistency as far as what they're doing on a day-to-day. And these individuals with that consistency, they can really get a lot accomplished by focusing in on one thing at a time. However, one of the areas to be cautious about, if this is your superpower, is that you can hold up the show. You can, because you're a big tree and you don't like change, you could actually be a blocker to moving forward. Even though the organization may need to be moving forward, you could be a hold up to that show. So be very careful not to have that cause. And for those of you who are leaders of people that might be in this superpower, the time is what they need. If you give them ample time, you notify them about what's happening, and you give them that time to move into that change, then they'll be okay. And so just do whatever you can to give them as much time as possible to move into that. On the other side, we have dynamic. These are the speedsters. These are the ones who are jumping or moving from one project to the next, to the next, to the next. They enjoy that movement, those opportunities to move on to new things and not be stuck doing the same thing over and over. And these are the people, when there's a new project, a new thing available, and you need volunteers, these are the people that are out in the back waving their arms saying, I want to do that, I want to be part of that, because they want that change. They thrive when they have that opportunity to move into different areas and know different things. And if this is your superpower, the area you need to be cautious about is not moving quicker than everybody else behind you. Or not move. You're okay to move quicker, but just don't get too far ahead of yourself. These people sometimes don't stick around to finish the project that got started. They're probably the one that started it, but they don't stick around to see it to its finish because they're already moved on to something else. And so if you have the ability to stick around and see that all the way till the end, you're not going to upset anyone by doing that. Our last factor is the compliant factor. This is how you respond to rules and procedures set by others. And so on this side we have precise. These are the people who are very accurate. They follow the rules. They want things to be done in an organized manner. And this has the power of ice. If you think about ice, I think of a snowflake, and how if you were to get a very close-up glimpse of that snowflake, how exact everything is within it, how precise all the crystals are within that little snowflake. And so with these people, along with that accuracy and that organization and following the rules, there's a lot of power there. However, the area to be cautious about, if this is your superpower, is that you can actually freeze the people around you. And what I mean by that is if you are too cold to people, these people are very can sometimes be very defensive. They can also be very critical of people, so that's an easy way to kind of freeze the people around you, and so you don't want to do that. So if you can avoid and know your audience and be able to just kind of take a step back and acknowledge that not everybody's built the same, not everybody does things the same. You are very precise, and you're trying to be. You could be a perfectionist, and not everybody's a perfectionist. So cut some people some slack, and that'll help thaw the room, and you won't actually freeze people. On the other side, we have pioneering. They have the superpower of flight, so they don't like to follow the rules necessarily. They want to make their own rules, and they want to fly as high in the sky as they can. These are the out of the box thinkers, the people who are thinking creatively and trying to think of new ways to do things better, and they're not bound down by some of the rules or the traditions of the past. And so these people are. You need to be cautious if this is your superpower, because if you're familiar with the story of Icarus, I may have said the name wrong, but he had the wings and he flew too close to the sun and he ended up dying. I don't want you to die, but if you fly too close to the sun, you can get burned, and other people won't understand what you're doing. So if you can fly closer to the ground where people can see what you're doing, you can give them an advance notice on how you're doing it or what your plan is. These individuals aren't the best organized. They're not. They don't necessarily have a traditional system in the way they do things, and so other people looking in won't necessarily understand. So if you can give some kind of advance notice about what your plan is. I like to think of a bird flying in the air. When a bird's just flying around, you have no idea what it's doing, where it's going to go. But when birds fly in unison, sometimes that's really pretty to look at. Well, if you're still that single bird, if you were to tell people, hey, I'm going to go do a loop over here, and then I'm going to do a loop over here, and then I'm going to end up coming down really fast, and people watch that, they'd be looking for those specific things. So they'd understand better what you're doing, even though you're not necessarily following the exact rules that they are used to. Everybody has at least one of these superpowers. And all of these superpowers are important to your organization. They're important to you as an individual. If you would like to learn more about these and see how these can apply to you, apply to your organization, I would love to sit down and have a 30-minute consultation with you. The email is in the description below. Let's help your team, your organization, have higher performance, more effective communications, build stronger relationships, and have a better team culture. I want to serve and help you, and I want to be there when you guys shoot into the stars. Also, if you haven't already, please click subscribe. Please share this with individuals, team members, leaders, anybody who can benefit from this information. I would love to continue to share this with you guys, and we can all continue to learn together. Thank you again for joining us. Don't forget, care to share and be somebody's hero.